Now, live from the Patriot Detroit Radio Complex, this is the John McCulloch Show.
I want to address what's been brought out on television today by Gloria Allred and the client that she has about things I allegedly did. I want to make it perfectly clear. The people of Alabama know me. They know my character. They know what I've stood for in the political world for over 40 years. And I can tell you without hesitation, this is absolutely false. I never did what she said I did. I don't even know the woman. I don't know anything about her. I don't even know where the restaurant is or was. And if you look at this situation, you'll see that because I'm 10 or 11 points ahead, this race being just 28 days off, that this is a political maneuver. It has nothing to do with reality. It's all about politics.
Now, here's John.
And welcome into the Tuesday edition of the McCulloch Show here on FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. Glad you could join us for the fastest hour on local Detroit talk radio, where your host continues serving his life sentence in reality. Be advised, here all lives matter. There is no political correctness. There are no safe zones for the snowflakes. And if you can be triggered, the chances are you will be triggered here. Lots to talk about Roy Moore. We'll be doing that a little bit later on in the program. There are some other things I want to get in, including something that I find somewhat comical from a very uncomical point of view. So bear with me on this. Please don't report me. Don't misquote me. But Paul Ryan is now going to mandate anti-sexual harassment training for the House of Representatives. And that includes aides, that includes everybody. Duh. Where have these people been? I remember more years ago than I'm going to admit, having gone through sexual harassment training at a big company I worked for, and you know the company. I'm not going to tell you which one it was, but they were one of the pioneers in this. And I remember sitting there going through it, and it was about, at that time, about a 4-hour process. It could have been in 20 minutes, but it was 4 hours, and I don't blame them because they got hit with some of the first sexual harassment lawsuits. And I remember distinctly thinking to myself after each session, well, you know, I didn't learn anything there. That was all just common sense. Stuff you wouldn't do. Now, there were some people who did benefit from it, to be sure. People who were engaged in snide remarks and things that they shouldn't have said. But from the standpoint of being an adult, from the standpoint of being there to do business, to have fun, and yet to do business as the first, or let's put, the two were on an equal priority. And those of you who know the company I'm talking about will be grinning now. It was a necessary thing to cover their rear ends, but it was all common sense. Since that time, every company I've worked for, and I've worked for a lot of them because people in radio do that, where we either get fired and move to another station, or we have the stations that we're working for bought out by another company. I've worked for Disney, ABC, CBS, ABC, I've worked for a lot of them. And they all put you through it, and with good reason. And they now do it with emails also. But for the Congress of the United States to just now be catching up to this, and to think it's really going to do any good at this late stage of the game, I don't know. Maybe it's your call. It's going to be a lot of money. It's going to cost a lot of money. Is it really necessary? I guess. It's just kind of funny to see the Congress of the United States catching up at this late stage of the game. I just wanted to throw that in there. I also have to throw a shout out, since I haven't been here for a while. I have to throw a shout out to Sean Belegian, who did a wonderful job of filling in for me, as he does always. I read some of the material that comes in after he's done, and he's getting great reviews. And Sean, if you're listening, thank you. You do a marvelous job. It's always been my goal to be able to put somebody in to sit in for me who could replace me. I don't want somebody to sit into me who's a backbencher. I want somebody to sit into me for me who can carry the weight of holding on to this audience. You do that, my friend, and I really appreciate everything that you do. And you do it in good taste also. So thank you, Sean Belegian. Also have another shout out of a different kind. This goes out to Gentleman's Quarterly. I use that term very loosely. Gentleman's Quarterly used to be a reasonably good publication. Used to be fun to read some of the articles. They were about split evenly between left-wing and right-wing leaning people, authors and so forth. Now, if you're lucky, you'll find it on the floor of your barbershop or your beauty salon, usually not one of the most read pieces of material because their stuff is garbage. Their ads are great, but they clearly are not a trend center because it's just left-wing gibberish and bilge. And to make the wonderful and vaunted and unemployed Colin Kaepernick Citizen of the Year, it's just so fitting, I can't believe it. So congratulations, GQ. You couldn't have picked a better person, and the runner-up is that crazy lady, the pro-Sharia, you know who I'm talking about, and that's even better. So you're in good company. If you're a GQ fan, enjoy. They're doing the work that you want them to. Where were all these people who are criticizing and yelling and screaming and calling for people's heads in Washington during the Bill Clinton accusations? I'm not going to go any further with that. Just a thought. And now to the subject that I want you to watch out for, because this is very important. Our country is undergoing a pretty serious time right now. The left is coming unglued. Hollywood's coming unglued. Norms are beginning to fall. Facades that had been set up as far as decency, as far as who's running what, as far as who's in charge here, as far as what goes on in the daily dereliction, let's say, of their duties. All this is falling apart on the left, from the mainstream media to the mainstream press to the mainstream publications to Hollywood to, well, the poll that came out of 4,500 registered likely voting Democrats with college educations. 77% of them say gender is not decided by biology at birth. 77% of them believe that? Okay. They're setting the stage for something. But what the stage is being set for is a coup. And I want you to be aware of this so that you know that it's coming. And I want you to comment on it. What you're seeing is a number of people in Washington who are saying that the election of the senator in whoever it is in Alabama should be the vote of the people. It should be the vote of the people. It is not the vote of the sitting senators in Washington or some committee in Washington. It is the vote of the people who elect the senator to represent them in Washington. In Washington, you've got a certain number of people who are saying, if he comes to Washington as the elected representative from Alabama, we're going to set it up and have hearings and not seat him. Simple as that. Which means that they will join with the anti-Trumpers saying, we're going to overturn election law in the United States of America. And that's exactly what they want to do. So keep your eyes open for the people who are saying, if he gets elected, we're going to change it. These are the people who are part of the swamp in a big way. That's my thought. I want to hear yours on this. Have you noticed this? I want you to be ready for it because it's coming. I don't think he's going to drop out. I really don't. And Roy Moore is not going to drop out. He's going to stick with it. He's got the lead. He's got the support of the evangelicals. They recognize this for the sham that it is, all these accusations, because they haven't been proven, not because they're not true. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they haven't been proven, and they know there's no way to prove them. before the election. So I'm going to be a fence sitter on this one because I don't know. And I'm not going to condemn the guy because I don't know. Nobody has shown me proof. But if they elect him and he goes to Washington and they won't seat him, then your coup is underway and you've lost your republic. Agree with me or not? Let's open up the lines. 800-923-9385. It's 800-923-WDTK. If they don't seat him, if he's elected, then it's over. This country, as we know it, is a done deal. And it'll be because of the establishment swamp in Washington winning the battle. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. You can also reach me on the text app on your smartphone. All you need to do is go to your smartphone's app store, search WDTK, and when it pops up, download it, install it, follow all of the directions. And once you get that all done, then you'll be up and running and you'll get all the Salem hosts, all their shows, all their podcasts, and everything else that they do either in real time or in recorded time, and you'll get it interference free. You'll get the McCulloch Minutes. There's a big collection of McCulloch Minutes there, and you'll also scroll down far enough and you'll get to text John McCulloch, and when you do that, it'll send a text message to me right here on this screen that's right in front of me. And it comes in real time, and I get them very fast, and we read the ones that we get, and sometimes I answer them. By the way, Sean Beligian answers more than I do, but he's much more of a multitasker than I am. So get that app. It's a little app. It doesn't take up much room on your smartphone. It's free, and it adds a whole new dimension to your ability to communicate with the Salem hosts, especially me. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. I say a full coup is underway, and it's proven by the fact that they're saying that if this guy, Roy Moore, gets elected, they're not going to seat him. It's not their right not to seat him. It's not their purview not to seat him. But they're going to do it, and they'll get away with it, and the republic is gone, as far as I'm concerned. 800-923-9385. Here's Ken in Livonia on the Patriot. Ken?
But I think what we're seeing is the fact that the Republicans, of course the Democrats, but the Republicans don't want a Bible-believing Christian in Washington, and I believe that's because a true Christian is an honest man, and these politicians have been soaking us, the taxpayers, for so many years. They just don't want that kind of guy in Washington. And what I look at is someone like myself, who also believes in the Bible and believes in being honest with everything, I wouldn't stand a snowball's chance in Hades of getting elected to political office. And so this is what I really think this is all about. The Democrats don't want them, and Republicans don't want them. And so they're going to do everything they can, promote as much lies as they can do to stop it. And that's what I really think is going to happen.
I appreciate your call, Ken. Appreciate your perspective. Thanks very much for joining us. And I'm not saying they're lies. I'm not sticking up for Judge Roy Moore. I don't know him from a cake of soap. But I will tell you this. To come forth at this late date, and by the way, he was a Democrat at one point. I believe when all these accusations were alleged to have taken place, I believe he was a Democrat at that point. Why now? That he's a Republican, and there's no way to prove it before the election. There's no way to get hearings underway. And you know, I don't care if Mitch McConnell thinks these people are credible. I don't think he's credible. I think he's a lying sack of nails. And I really do. I don't think he's told the truth. If you hear the number of things he's told the American people, put them on a scale, truth here, lies wins it. Hands down. He's not a conservative. He's not really a right-winger. He doesn't represent me, and I don't think he represents most of the Trump voters. As a matter of fact, he hates Donald Trump, hates having to deal with him. And he doesn't want to have to deal with Roy Moore, because Roy Moore comes right into his face. But Roy Moore, there's not been anything proven. I don't care how credible Mitch McConnell thinks the accusers are, and don't somebody misquote me on this and say I'm sticking up for Roy Moore. I'm not. I'm sticking up for the system. And our system does not deserve to be torn down because of the likes of Mitch McConnell, John McCain. Well, you know, I don't have to name them all. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. John McCulloch Show here on FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. There were some things that I was a little bit dreading about going. I went away and I went to my brother's wedding, and we have a pretty big family, a pretty big extended family, and then, of course, we had her side. And it was a big, big party afterwards, a big reception in kind of a small place. And those kinds of places used to drive me completely crazy when I couldn't hear. And if I now, with my adjustments from Cruise Hearing, it's still a little bit of a nerve-wracking thing to think about going into a crowd like that, except that I have a remote control in my pocket which can filter where the noise comes from. In other words, I can block out a whole bunch of the noise and get it set so that when I look at somebody and they respond to me, I hear them and I don't hear everything that goes on around me. That's a tremendous advance in digital hearing, and it's just one of the many that you'll see at Cruise Hearing. None of that would have happened if I hadn't really taken the step of making that first phone call and discovering the Cruise Hearing family. And I'm urging you to do the same. It's a big step to take, but it just can improve your life so much, and without all the pressure that comes usually with dealing with people who are trying to sell you something. Give them a call. There's 2 locations to serve you. Joshua is in Taylor, and Felix is the dad, and Joshua's the son. Felix is in Farmington Hills. You can reach both locations at the same number and book that appointment. It's a tough call to make. I know I had to go through it. But when you do it, you'll be so glad you did. 877-456-2789. That's 877-456-CRUISE. 877-456-2789. Please let them know John McCulloch sent you.
Now, on-time traffic and weather on the Patriot.
I-75 northbound at Clay, an accident in the left center lane. Traffic is slow from I-375. I-75 northbound after Dixie Highway in Springfield Township, 2 left lanes blocked by an accident. Traffic getting by in the right lane only. It's slow from Ortonville Road. M10 The Lodge northbound after West Grand Boulevard, disabled vehicle has been cleared. 94 eastbound at Moross, accident partially blocking the entrance ramp. And Van Dyke southbound is closed between 15 Mile and 14 Mile due to a broken water main. You want to avoid that. Traffic stopped from 17 Mile. Try Mound Road, Ryan, or Shaner as possible alternates. The annual 8K Fun Run and Walk Through the Lights will close down Hines Drive this evening, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. between Ann Arbor Trail and Outer Drive. The weather forecast this evening, mostly cloudy, low around 36. Wednesday, showers mainly after 8 a.m., high 47. Right now, 42 degrees. I'm Kevin Sanderson on The Patriot, FM 101.5 and AM 1400.
On his way here now is Howard Tekach of Azertech Public Adjusters, and he'll be here in a few minutes, and we're going to be doing another version of Claim Your Victory live at 7 o'clock right after this show. And that's where we answer questions about what they do at Azertech Public Adjusters. A public adjuster is licensed by the state of Michigan, helps you get the best settlement you possibly can get from your property insurance company when you have a property insurance claim at your home or business. But when he comes to do Claim Your Victory, he brings with him stories and examples of things that have happened. Some of them are just totally unbelievable. And we also take calls, and we take texts with people with questions about property insurance, because it can be a very, very confusing field. Not to Howard. Howard deals with it every single day. You hopefully only have to deal with it maybe once or twice in your life. He deals with it every day, as do his people. Take advantage of that knowledge. Listen in to Claim Your Victory coming up at 7 o'clock, and please remember their number. If you can't call during the show, you can at least call them and talk to them about your property insurance policy. Their number, 855-CLAIM-55. That's 855-CLAIM-55. For Azertech Public Adjusters, listen to the show tonight or give them a call at 855-CLAIM-55. Either way, mention, if you would, the John McCulloch Show.
The John McCulloch Show is brought to you in part by Dr. Richard Klein at the Michigan Head and Neck Institute.
FM 101.5, AM 1400, The Patriot. We're talking about the coming coup as a result of what's going on in Washington. They're using poor Judge Roy Moore as the scapegoat for it, and that's where they're going to jump off. And who's going to be able to argue with it? I mean, people are probably furious with me. I'm not sticking up for Judge Roy Moore. I'm sticking up for the process. It's impossible to prove the guy's guilty or innocent in the time we have. And I don't care what Mitch McConnell says about the credibility of these witnesses that have come forward. Where was Mitch McConnell when Mary Jo Kopechne went down at Chappaquiddick? I don't understand the hypocrisy. It's so rampant and where was he during the Bill Clinton years when we had accusations of rape that were settled out of court? Why do you settle something out of court for $800,000 if there isn't something there? And yet, here's something where there's no way to prove it, and we're ready to sacrifice the Republic as a result. Let's not let that happen. Because if they don't seat him, if he's elected, the Republic is gone, as far as I'm concerned. Here's Craig in Sterling Heights on the Patriot. Go ahead.
Hi, John. Just so you know where I'm coming from, I sent Roy Moore some money during the primary. I was a supporter of him, and I pretty much have your position. I don't know either way. But if you take a scenario that you laid out, if it was a case that he's telling the truth, there's a way he can protect himself from this coup. You know that, right? What he could do is contact Sean Hannity, tell him to go on his program with a certified polygraph examiner and answer the questions and have the examiner declare whether he's telling the truth or not. If he passed that on live TV, and he had the results published where everybody can see them, and they tried to not seat him after that, they'd be committing political suicide.
Well, I'm going to say two things about it, Craig. I thank you for the call. I really enjoy what you said, and it's very cogent. But my dad, who was an attorney and a judge, always told me, he said, son, if you ever get in a situation where you are asked to take a polygraph, don't do it. Don't ever trust your well-being, your reputation, or maybe even your life to a machine, unless that machine can be proven to be 100% unbeatable. And the operator of the machine can be proven to be 100% honest and unbeatable with no axe to grind. I've always felt that way. But, if he would go on Sean Hannity show in an open forum town hall type setting, if Sean would have him, that might be a way to do it. I'm not a big fan of the polygraph. And it's just because of the advice my dad gave me years ago. But I'll tell you this. I've had a number of people point out that there must be something about this Roy Moore that either offers the left the chance they've been looking for this coup to overturn 250 years of history of elections in this country, or he must pose one heck of a threat to the Swamp Club, because they're the ones that are after him. Why aren't the others after him? You think all the people out there who are not calling for his head, not calling for him to step down, you think they're all a bunch of pedophiles? If you think that, you're a lefty. And your thinking is flawed. But I thank you again for the call. Good thoughts all. Here's Paul in Newport on the Patriot. Hey, Paul.
Good evening, sir. As far as this goes, first of all, this is for the sovereign state of Alabama to decide, the people there. The second thing is, is the more that they bring out, or the longer he persists in staying in the race, they're going to find out more and more things that they can throw at him. This is the nature of the beast, and he does not have necessarily the resources that Donald Trump did when the same thing was going on. So there's a lot going on here. I also think it's interesting to note that Leftist Magazine said at the
Paul, are you still there?
90s.
You disappeared.
Yeah. I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Now I can. Say that sentence again.
All right. I think it's interesting that those on the left have said that they were perhaps hasty in supporting Bill Clinton. Now, that's interesting now that the Clintons are no longer a viable political force. Well, I have developed a term, I think, for people who are taking this view, and these are the neo-righteous. In other words, they've suddenly found a moral compass they never had before in their life, and they're going to aim it at the targets of their political convenience. Roy Moore is a man who stood up for freedom of expression and religious levels. He stood up to the federal courts. He has drawn lines in the sand and stood by them, which is exactly what the rhinos do not want. So right now the Democrats are quite content to let the rhino Republicans do their job for them. They can make, I'll pat you on the head statements, oh, yes, this is awful, but they'll let McConnell, McCain, Flake, and the others do their job. I don't know whether Roy Moore is guilty or not, but it seems awfully suspicious to me that it's taken this long for anything like this to surface.
I agree with you, Paul, 100%, and I thank you very much for the call. You know what else bothers me about this? Two things. This latest one that came and accused him, I think it was, 1976, 1975, something like that, that he got her in his car. He said he was going to take her home. He drove around behind the restaurant where she was leaving and locked her in the car, locked the cars. I know a little bit about cars. I know a little bit about child-proof locks. I know a little about lock around. Wasn't there in the 70s, folks. Wasn't there. That right there should disqualify the latest accuser. And there's another thing that bothers me. Jeff Sessions. Now, how could Jeff Sessions bother me in connection with this? I'll tell you why. The most obvious need in Washington right now, for those of us who want to drain the swamp, is a special investigator for the Clintons. And Jeff Sessions today came out against it. Came out against it. Looks to me like Jeff Sessions is part of the swamp. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. That's what it looks like to me. What am I supposed to use to draw my conclusions? Actions or words? Maybe he should just step aside as Attorney General and go down and run as a write-in in Alabama. After all, it's his seat they're filling. That would prove he's not part of the swamp, that he's part of the Make America Great Again movement. FM 101.5, AM 1400, The Patriot. If you need some extra money, you want to add to your retirement income, if you want to leave the job you're in and go into business for yourself, if you want to be your own boss, you don't want to work as many hours as you're working now, there's all kinds of things you can do it. But the safest way to do it is to find somebody who's done it, ask them how they did it, and then go do what they did. And that's what Online Trading Academy is all about. They have professional traders that they have contracted with. These are super professional traders who make money whether the market's going up or down. They contract with Online Trading Academy at their permanent campus here in Southfield, and they have 40 others around the world. They contract with them, and they come in, and they actually, under contract, take time off from their trading job and teach you what they do. Now, Online Trading Academy's mode of operation is patented, so they don't teach you that. But at this 3-hour session that you can attend, this power trading session, it's free, you'll learn some of the bits and pieces of how these professionals make money, whether the stock market goes up or down. Then you attend Online Trading Academy, learn it backwards and forwards, and then just go do what they did. It's as simple as that. See if it's for you. You don't have to pay a thing to do it. Attend the Online Trading Academy's 3-hour power trading session. Attend the next one. All you got to do is call and make your reservation. 844-250-8723. That's 844-250-8723. Or you can go to the John McCulloch page at patriotdetroit.com. The numbers are displayed right there, along with all of the other fine advertisers on this program. 844-250-8723 for Online Trading Academy. If you want that extra money, you want that independence, I don't think you could find time better spent.
Now, on-time traffic, news, and weather on the Patriot.
I-94 westbound between US 12 Michigan Avenue and US 23 closed by an accident by Ypsilanti. Stop traffic back to Rawsonville Road. I-75 northbound after Dixie Highway in Springfield Township. An accident in the 2 left lanes. Traffic getting by in the right lane only. It's slow from Sashabaw Road on the jam cams. I-94 eastbound at Moross. An accident blocking the right side of the entrance ramp. Van Dyke southbound closed between 15 Mile and 14 Mile due to a water main break in Sterling Heights. You want to avoid that traffic stop from before Metro Parkway. Try Mound Road, Ryan, or Shaner as possible alternates. The annual 8K Fun Run and Walk Through the Lights will close down Hines Drive this evening from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. between Ann Arbor Trail and Outer Drive. The race begins at Merriman. Napier Road between 9 Mile and 10 Mile closed for road construction scheduled through January 5th. The weather forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, low 36. Wednesday, showers mainly after 8 a.m., high near 47. Wednesday night, a chance of showers mainly before 8 p.m., a low around 36. Right now, it's 42 degrees. From the townhall.com newsroom, the former Northville Psychiatric Hospital will be torn down next year. Officials say the property will be fenced in with lights and a security system installed to keep trespassers away. Northville Township has been spending approximately $100,000 a year to secure the land since they took it over in 2009. Last month, the Northville Police Department announced a zero-tolerance policy around Halloween to keep people away from the 9-story building. The demolition is expected to begin in the spring and wrap up in the fall. The one-time attorney for Rosa Parks is being given 3 more weeks to turn over some missing historical artifacts as part of his long-running bankruptcy case. Bankruptcy officials say attorney Gregory Reed has failed to surrender items including Parks' key to the city of Detroit, some authentic iron slave shackles, an autographed first edition of Booker T. Washington's autobiography, and gold records from Motown artists. I'm Kevin Sanderson on the Patriot, FM 101.5 and AM 1400.
So how am I doing, doctor?
Well, you really need to lose some weight. Your blood pressure is high and you're borderline diabetic.
Okay, but not this week because I've got my kid's birthday, so there will be cake.
Next week then?
Well, next week is my sister's wedding. More cake.
Okay, the week after?
Bowling league banquet.
Week after that?
Anniversary.
After that?
National Cheesecake Appreciation Week.
You know you need to lose weight, and you will when the time is right. Guess what? The time is right now. Because there's no good time to have a heart attack or diabetes or cancer.
The week after that?
Cinco de Mayo.
After that?
Mayo de Cinco.
You just made that up.
Losing just 10% of your body weight can decrease your risk for chronic diseases. So pledge to lose 10% and get a free starter kit at michigan.gov/myhealthiertomorrow.
But what about all you can eat pierogi day?
You'll start today.
Today.
Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Community Health and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters, an initiative of the Michigan 4x4 Plan.
The John McCulloch Show is sponsored in part by Greg Chiropractic Life Centers.
FM 101.5, AM 1400, The Patriot. We're discussing the coup going on in Washington, or what I believe to be a coup, and we're taking calls on that subject and also a lot of texts, and I hope to get to some more of the texts in just a few minutes. I can't get to all of them because there's so many of them. Appreciate it, folks. Appreciate your participation. Here's John and Novi on the Patriot. Hi, John.
Oh, am I on the air?
I believe you are, yes.
Oh, okay. Thanks, John. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
And great show as usual. I just wanted to make the point about the irony of this whole situation, that the South refused to recognize the election of Abraham Lincoln in 1860, and now by Northern Republicans, and now you have people from border state Republicans trying to overturn the results of a duly held election in the state of Alabama, or a primary. And the swamp dwellers are acting more like members of the Politburo of the old Soviet Union, where they're a self-perpetuating group of an oligarchy, if you will, that are promoting their own perpetuation, and just it's a pretense or sham of an election. And whereas if the results don't come out the way you want them to, you just hold another election. This is at least the second election in a year, meaning President Trump, where they've tried to delegitimize the election and delegitimize the candidate of the winning candidate, or the winning person, winning nominee, and that I don't think it's going to have a good end, because people will put up with this stuff when it's apparent to everybody that if you can take out somebody from the state of Alabama, who's next? I mean,
Well, they could just sit up there like a fraternity. A fraternity, they have their meetings after they've done pledge week for whatever.
That's a good analogy, John. It's a bunch of spoiled adolescents.
Yeah, and somebody doesn't like somebody. Somebody doesn't like somebody. They just
and
you look at the movie Animal House.
Yeah,
is a good analogy to what goes on in Washington.
Senator Blutarski.
Yeah, that was the greatest ending.
Well, what's funny is comedy. It's not, not as reality. There's very little funny about this, I think.
Well, in all comedy,
troubling.
There is a twinge of reality. That's always. I said in all comedy there is a twinge of reality. That's always the case. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. Let's see. Up next, Tim in Canton. Thanks for hanging on, Tim. You're next on the Patriot. Go ahead.
John, I love your show.
Thank you. Can I say something, Tim? There's something I have to say before I let you talk. I have these idiots who are, they're calling out of the predictable area codes, where the liberals call, and they're furious with me using the word coup. I'll use whatever word I want, you twits. And I'm telling you right now, it is a coup. And if you don't like it, please find yourself another station to harass, because you're not bothering me. I'm laughing at you, as is the rest of the audience. So go ahead, Tim, with your cogent call.
You bet. I'm not one of them.
I know you're not.
I've been listening to you for a long time. I just wanted to. I was listening, so I wanted to weigh in. I'm sure there are some legitimate cases out there where women and young women have come forth, and we've definitely seen it over the last few years, haven't we?
Absolutely.
But this is starting to turn into an overturn of a presumption of innocence, and it's been weaponized. I mean, we can see it all over Hollywood, and I'm sure that Hollywood is rife with improprieties and men going way out of bounds. But it's now being a political weapon, and not too long ago they tried it with Trump, and look what happened. Where are those women today? I'm disturbed, because you don't know what's right or wrong, but I would think in this country, at least, there is a presumption of innocence before we weigh in.
Let me ask you this, Tim. Of all the accusations that have now come out in Hollywood, why now? Where were they? This has been going on for years. It's been going on for 30, 40, 50 years. Nobody opens their mouth. And what about the ones who couldn't come forth and say, look, this happened to me and I want something done about it? Like Mary Jo Kopechne. How much chance did she have to make her case as she sat in the car in the back seat in the bottom of a creek because her drunken consort, whatever you want to call him, didn't feel like rescuing her. He wanted to go home. And he did. And he left her there to die. And what about all these people running around with those funky pink hats on after, remember that?
Yeah.
And all those bad words they were saying and all those things they were, well, where were they? Half of them came out and said, well, we were abused and this was done and that was done. Well, why didn't you say something at the time? Well, you can't fault the victim. You're victim shaming then. No, I'm not victim shaming. I am lack of backbone shaming. And this woman who's come out and gotten Roy Moore, this latest one, talking about how he pushed a button and locked the locks in the car in 1974. Find me a 74 other than a Rolls Royce with child locks on it or all-around locks controlled from the driver's side. You remember those? I don't. And I had a few cars back then.
And those are just the facts we have now. I mean, there's not, you don't have anything else. But, just the mere accusation is enough to completely ruin a man. And I don't think that should be.
No, and I think along with Chris from Shelby Township, who texts and says, thanks for the call, Tim, texts and says that he thinks they're just trying to muddy the water right now because pedophilia is rampant in Hollywood. Agreed. Rampant in Washington. Agreed. And rampant on the left. Very rampant on the left. But you know their way out of it? Well, one thing for sure, 77% of them believe that these are the lefties now, the college-educated lefties from certain universities that are very close to here. When you're born, that gender that you're born with, well, that's not real. That's not decided, not until you decide. Isn't that wonderful? So when the doctor comes out and says it's a boy, you say, how dare you, sexist pig? Is that what you say to your doctor? I don't know. It's not what I'd say to mine. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. Or the doctor comes out and says it's a girl. Well, how dare you, you sexist pig? I'm not going to be having a cis child. This child will get to pick for himself, or herself, or itself, or what self, or whoever's self. Way too confusing. Dr. Richard Klein is a specially educated neuromuscular dentist with over 30 years' experience managing TMJ disorders and sleep apnea disorders at the Michigan Head and Neck Institute. Dr. Klein is a fine dentist. He has gotten special training for what he does because of an injury he had, which made it impossible for him to carry on his dental practice. He still wanted to be in the field, but he couldn't do the bending and twisting and turning it takes for a dentist to bend into positions to do the drilling and so forth that they have to do. So he went and got certified in pain management and did extra studies on TMJ disorder and sleep apnea. Now he's one of the world's known experts. He travels all over the world giving lectures. The medical community is after him. He goes to conventions of MDs where they want him to lecture on developments in TMJ disorder and sleep apnea. He teaches in medical school right here in Michigan, and we're very lucky. We've got him right here in Warren, and he's easy to reach. He's got a website, tmjmichigan.com. That's tmjmichigan.com. You can go there and check the symptoms of obstructive sleep. I'll say it if I can learn how to talk. Obstructive sleep apnea and TMJ disorder. And if you see those symptoms match symptoms that you may have, then give him a call for an evaluation appointment. All the information you need to contact Dr. Klein is right there at tmjmichigan.com for Dr. Richard Klein at the Michigan Head and Neck Institute. And please remember to tell him when you call, John McCulloch sent you.
Now, on-time traffic and weather on the Patriot.
I-94 westbound between US 12 Michigan Avenue and US 23 closed by an accident over by Ypsilanti. Stop traffic back to Rossonville Road. I-696 eastbound at I-75, an accident on the right shoulder. I-75 northbound after Dixie Highway in Springfield Township. Accident cleared, slow from Ortonville Road on the jam cams. I-94 eastbound at Moross, an accident blocking the right side of the entrance ramp. 94 westbound at Ecorse Road, accident right shoulder. Van Dyke southbound closed between 15 Mile and 14 Mile due to a broken water main. Avoid that. Traffic stopped from Metro Parkway. Try Mound Road, Ryan, or Shaner as possible alternates. The annual AK Fun Run and Walk Through the Lights will close down Hines Drive this evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. between Ann Arbor Trail and Outer Drive. The weather forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, low around 36. Wednesday, showers mainly after 8 a.m., a high 47. Right now, 42 degrees. I'm Kevin Sanderson on the Patriot, FM 101.5 and AM 1400.
Want to fly somewhere? Looking for cheap flights or cheap tickets? Then call. That's right. Call the low-cost airline travel hotline now for prices so low we can't publish them anywhere. Low-cost airlines has all kinds of cheap travel deals. Fly domestically and save up to 75%. You can even fly internationally and save even more. Yes, fly anywhere in the world and save a lot of money on your plane tickets. We'll even save you money with cheap travel deals on hotels, rental cars, even complete travel packages. So don't book your tickets until you call us first for the absolute cheapest prices on U.S. and international airline tickets and hotels. Call right now for prices so low they can't be published. Travel experts are here 24/7 to help.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397.
The John McCulloch Show is sponsored in part by Azertech Public Adjusters.
FM 101.5, AM 1400, The Patriot. If you were one of the people who thought that Jeff Sessions was a squishy choice for Attorney General, has what he has done today cemented that position in your mind? Because with all this evidence that a person, and I'm not trying to criticize the handicapped, who is blind, deaf, and unable to speak, could ascertain that the Clintons are guilty of any number of things in this Uranium One deal. With all that evidence there, Jeff Sessions doesn't think there's enough to move forward with a prosecution, or at least a special committee, or at least a special prosecutor. Come on, Mr. Attorney General. Are you going to climb out of the swamp, or are you going to let it consume you? Fred Ferndale, you're next on The Patriot. Go ahead.
Hey, John. I just wanted to kind of bring up that my mother was from Pennsylvania, the Appalachian Mountains, right on the Mason-Dixon line, north of the Mason-Dixon. So she really wasn't from the South. But she married my dad at 13, and my dad was 23. And they moved to Detroit, and she met my dad out here. But the thing is, they dated teenagers back in the day. And what I heard is my mom wanted to get out of the family. She was the last of 13. So she grabbed my dad, and before you knew it, they got married. But the thing is, Judge Roy Moore, it's been 40 years since he's been, even if he was dating teenagers, big deal. And I'm sure, it's exaggerated on their dates, whatever, comes out of it, because we're just getting one side of the story. And it's been 40 years. He's been married. He's raised a family. I mean, we see all these people who get family members murdered, and they forgive them.
I hear you, Fred. You're exactly right, and I appreciate your call. You're exactly right. And I don't get it either. But when somebody signs a yearbook back then, and that's one of the things they're hanging him on, and he signs it as the DA, but, oops, he wasn't the DA then. He was the deputy district attorney. So why would he put DA? And why was the signature different? David in Birmingham. Not saying he's innocent. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. Hey, David, go ahead. You got 30 seconds.
Hey, how's it going, John? I
Good.
got to say, that last caller you had really kind of made me mad because what's he implying, that we should go back to 25-year-olds marry 13-year-olds? That is some sick stuff.
No, he's not saying that. He's saying that back in the...
He's saying it was okay.
He's
his dad did it.
Well, no, that's not what he said. I'm sorry. You're one of the people who causes the problems, David. Listen.
The Patriot is your home for Wayne State Warriors basketball. Whether it's here at the Mathi or on the road, join me, Kevin Breckmacher, and Cliff Russell for play-by-play coverage of every Warriors game. If you can't cheer your Warriors in the bleachers, join the Patriot on your phone app or on the air. It's Warriors basketball live on FM 92.7 and AM 1400, The Patriot.
Wayne State University Athletics and News Talk 1400, The Patriot. Go Warriors!
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, Home Advisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free Home Advisor app.
Home Advisor.
MyPillow.com, promo code WDTK, and you'll get the best offer ever, as far as I'm concerned. You pay for one pillow, you get the second pillow absolutely free. That's MyPillow.com, promo code WDTK. 2 MyPillows for the price of one. You know you want one. You've heard enough about it. Try it. 60 days, sleep on it. You don't like it, you get your money back. MyPillow.com, promo code WDTK, and you too can start sleeping the way nature intended.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Promo code WDTK. Here's Ron in Southfield on the Patriot. Hi, Ron.
Hi. Hey, I agree with you that there's a problem if they choose not to seat him. I do have a problem, though, with continuing to mix criminal justice standards with political standards. In other words, I'm not deciding if someone's guilty or not as a voter. I'm deciding which of these two gentlemen I believe thinks the way I think or has better judgment. I'm not deciding any level of guilt or innocence, so you can't, the guilty before proven, or guilty before proven, that doesn't apply in this case. And it's kind of vapid to put on criminal justice terminology like that onto a political race.
You know what, Ron, you make so much sense, and you're absolutely right. But when you say something like that, then people will brand you as a pedophile okay guy or a supporter or whatever. And you have to be very careful because we're in strange times now. And, the Jeff Sessions is being slowly dragged back into the swamp. Just be careful that they don't try to do that to you, too. Thanks very much for the call. I appreciate it very much. Thanks to Jason Fissler for engineering and call screening tonight. This program is produced by Steve Dealey. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. Thank you for texting. And thank you for watching. What's it going to be? The doctor comes out with the baby and says, okay, what is it? I'm John McCulloch. Stay tuned for Claim Your Victory. Have as good a night as you can.
The John McCulloch Show is sponsored in part by Dr. Richard Klein of Michigan Head and Neck, Greg Chiropractic Life Center, AzerTech Public Adjusters, Cruise Hearing Aid Centers, and Online Trading Academy. The John McCulloch Show on the